Coming up, Hugo the tortoise forgets his table manners.
Here you go, mate.
I give you the lowdown on a national icon.
They love the social interaction.
And the trees have eyes, and ears, and tails. I'm in the Atherton Tablelands, about an hour or so inland from Cairns in North Queensland. There are some spectacular sights on these roads. I wish I could see them. But what I'm doing needs darkness. There's an animal I'm desperate to see. It's not strictly nocturnal, but it's well camouflaged and likes to hang out high in the canopy. The Lumholtz tree kangaroo is only found in and around the Atherton Tablelands. Though some say its conservation status is of least concern, up here in North Queensland, it's a different story. Their habitat has been stripped away since European settlement. The thing is, I've never seen one in the wild. Hopefully that's all about to change. If this comes off, I'm going to be one happy camper.
Princess parrots.
To help me achieve my goal, I've met up with Alan Galanders, a local wildlife expert.
Yeah.
Before we get to the tree-roo habitat, we're heading to somewhere he knows has a whole load of other nocturnal wildlife to spotlight.
We're about to see some fishing bats. Now, they're a little microbat, and the name suggests how they hunt. They actually have long toes with sharp hook-like claws, and what they do is trawl the surface of the water, hoping to hook a fish that's sitting right up high, and that's what they eat. Let's go.
Good information like Alan's is always great, but you can just as easy go spotlighting by yourself. So long as you remain responsible and respect you're in a wild environment,
Lose your lights for a minute, boys. Just for a minute.
there shouldn't be a problem. We've arrived at a bridge Alan knows has a colony of fishing bats roosting underneath. They find their way into all sorts of cracks and crevices, but we didn't bank on this.
It's a juvenile. Just there's a juvenile. And I think there's an adult up further.
This has gone from a roost to a nursery, and that's the first time you've seen that?
Yeah, it's the first time I've seen the young, which is wonderful. They just used to use this site as a nighttime roost where they were fishing. And then they started digging out this insulation and then camping here during the day. And this is the first evidence I've got of them breeding here, so it's really been wonderful.
And they look pretty, you know, a decent age. They're not fully furred, a bit bald, but and two, would they be from separate parents?
Yes, and different ages. Yeah, they just have one at a time. And as you saw, quite a small bat, but with really wide feet for getting those fish.
Have you seen them fish?
I've seen them fish. I've never actually seen one pull a fish out of the water. I've seen them carrying fish they've caught. I've seen them eating. I've seen them cleaning scales. But I've never actually seen a successful dip.
I'm calling now. Right, let's leave them be, hey?
Right. Wonderful.
I've got my eldest son, Bill, with me today at the park. I wouldn't say it's work experience, but he's getting a taste of what Dad gets up to from day to day. Bill's been helping me feed our baby wombat, Ruby. Now we're done, it's time to take her for a run in the park.
Come on, Rubes. No, she's coming. She's coming. Go! Keep on going, mate. Hello, guys. You can have a little pat as I come past if you like. Her name's Ruby.
Wombats are one of Australia's most iconic species, so it's no wonder Ruby gets plenty of attention when we take her for a wander around the park.
That's the morning exercise over. Marsupials like wombats, kangaroos, possums, sometimes they get hit by cars. Now, really, you need to stop and have a look because these marsupials have thick, hard bottoms. And often the joey inside is safe and alive, even though the mum might not be. You need to stop and have a look because you can rescue a little joey, just like Ruby, by doing that. Come on, Rube. Ah, come on, I'll give you a hand. I'll give you a hand. This way. Come on, Rube.
We've still got heaps of jobs to get through this morning, and it's time for Rubes to have a snooze.
Come on, you.
The evolution of the kangaroo is one of nature's finest masterpieces. It has adapted to life in one of the world's harshest environments, the Australian outback. Kangaroos and other marsupials used to have a common ancestor, a small mammal, a rodent, possum-like creature, and it used to inhabit the wetter, cooler forests that once covered Australia. Roos are the symbol of Australia, found on everything from the coat of arms to the tail of the national airline. Spread across the continent, there are two large and iconic species, the red kangaroo and grey kangaroo, as well as many smaller species. But they all belong to the family of macropods, meaning large foot.
This is a Kangaroo Island kangaroo, and they're one of the more placid kangaroos. Just great to have here at the park because they love the social interaction. Not all kangaroos are this friendly, and the ones here are used to people. Some of your smaller wallabies, potoroos, they're very flighty. You get close to them and they take off.
And when a kangaroo gets on the move, there's no stopping them. They have evolved the most economical form of locomotion, their hop.
They've developed the hop because in Australia, a dry continent, food and water could be some distance away. Now, when they hop, their feet go down, the tendons stretch, and the body is pushed forward. Rather than running, that requires a lot of energy.
Kangaroos are true marvels of evolution. They are designed for speed, endurance, and doing it all efficiently. Just look at those legs, strong feet, strong tendon, and a tail for counterbalance.
Most species of kangaroo are nocturnal. They have to be because it's too hot through the day and the environments are too harsh. Coming out at night means there's a bit of moisture on the food you eat, dew, and it's much cooler, and that conserves energy. A problem in Australia is kangaroos coming to the roadside to feed after dark. Now, there's green feed along the edge of the road that cattle, sheep and other stock haven't eaten. Kangaroos wait till dark and come to the road's edge, often collide with cars.
The reptile park has lots of macropods, and the number occasionally increases as orphans are brought to the park, mainly due to road trauma, dog attacks, shootings, environmental impact, or abandonment by their mother. One such Joey is Sally, a beautiful grey kangaroo.
And little Sally here has a bit of a sad story. Her mother was hit by a car, but little Sally was protected inside the pouch. Now, while her mother passed away, Sally survived. And lucky for her, she was found by a beautiful family that brought her here to the reptile park. She was much smaller, almost furless, and now we care for her. Sally is an eastern grey kangaroo, and they're one of the more placid and lovable kangaroos. Now, she's just over a year old, and we've been hand-rearing her since she was about 6 months old. I'm just about to give her a bottle. She only has 2 bottles a day now because she's eating a lot of solid food. She's almost weaned. And eastern grey kangaroos keep their joeys for longer than almost all macropods or other kangaroos. Now, I've got an artificial milk formula and an artificial teat, and I'm mum. There you go. And once they have that milk, they just relax like a human baby would. I love when they hold onto your fingers. It's pretty special.
Sally's future is in captivity. She can't be released to the wild because she's too used to people, to human beings. But that's not a bad thing because she's an ambassador for a species. She'll mix with our mob of roos and have a happy life. Kangaroos can live to about 10 years old in the wild and up to 20 years in captivity, depending on the species. That's mainly due to diet and an obvious lack of predators in zoos and wildlife parks.
If Sally was left in the wild, she'd almost certainly be dead. I think she got pretty lucky and she found a good home here.
One of my favourite wildlife pastimes is spotlighting, and you can't get much better than in the Atherton Tablelands in North Queensland. We are well and truly into the tropics here, and because of its elevated position and fertile soils, the Tablelands have been a major provider to the Australian dinner table for well over a century. All very well for us, but the whole area was once covered in rainforest. Today, it's a pale shadow of its former self. Only small pockets of rainforest exist.
Why is it good to look along the forest edges along the road?
Oh, Tim, you've got to be able to see a bit. If you go in under the forest, all you can see are the leaves that are closest to you that it hits. But here we've got a gap, so we can see a fair bit of the canopy, and through the little gaps we can look further back and pick up other things. We've got much more chance of finding an animal here.
It's not long before we catch sight of our first marsupial of the night. It's a green ringtail possum.
Now, they're only found here on the Atherton Tablelands. They've got a pretty clever trick during the daytime.
Rather than a lot of possums that will find a hollow to sleep in during the day, the green ringtail will curl up in a ball on a branch using its fur as camouflage. Their fur is more of an olive grey, made up of black, yellow, white and grey hairs. And those white markings around the eyes and ears? Well, they're a sure sign you're looking at a green ringtail.
And he's out now feasting on the leaves in the forest. And because some of the leaves are quite toxic, they've got a really slow metabolism and a long gut. And as far as possums go, they're pretty slow, similar to a sloth.
There's nothing like local knowledge when it comes to seeking out wildlife, and Alan's is amongst the best. He's taken us to a few Lumholtz tree-kangaroo hangouts tonight, but he saved the best for last. This is the mighty curtain fig, a spectacular sight, but it's got nothing on what I can see right now.
Just up there is a Lumholtz tree-kangaroo. Now, it's one of Australia's rarest marsupials, and certainly one of the hardest to spot.
Evolution means they differ to their land-based cousins quite a bit. Their forearms are long and muscular, while their hind feet are short and broad. And under those feet is a soft pad that lets it mould around the branches and trunks to help it climb. Its tail? Well, that's just used for balance. It's actually the longest, relative to size, in the kangaroo family. Tree-kangaroos sleep all day hunched over in a sitting position high up in the canopy. Then at dusk, out they come to feed on leaves. They'll eat from all sorts of trees: black bean, chestnut, candlenut, bollywood, and loads of others. But this is special.
It's the first one I've ever seen. This was the very last location of the night, and what a way to end.
Billy, my eldest son, is helping his dad at the park today. We've been out the front for most of the morning, but now we're heading out back.
Come on, Rube.
The public don't generally get to see behind the scenes, but there's always a critter or two that find their way in.
Look at this, mate. That's a water dragon. And you know what? See her big belly? She's full of eggs. She's got lots of little eggs in there. You know why she's called a water dragon?
Why?
Because she lives near the water. OK, I'm going to let her go.
I'm gonna do vision.
OK, well, you hold on to the tail.
That's
Ready? Put her on the ground. Put her on the ground. 1, 2, 3. Whoa! Did you see that? Hit me.
I want to the dinosaurs.
Oh, the dinosaurs. OK, well, how can we not look at the dinosaurs? All right, come on.
Well, lizards are a distant relation, just like the fellow we're off to see next.
You guys lunch.
First up, though, we have to prep some food.
Come on. Hugo's our 65-year-old Galapagos tortoise. And he likes...
This one.
You can cut that. There's a bit of prickly pear, sweet potato and endive, some of his favourites.
Obviously, I've picked out a blunt knife for Bill to use.
Whoa, that was a good one. Here we go.
Can I touch them?
You can, that's a good one for you. Got it? You got it, mate? Yeah, chop that bit off. Good boy. And this bit? Galaps have got big bellies and big digestive systems. They need lots of food. They're graziers, so they eat little bits over a long amount of time, and that's what we're providing here with endive and sweet potato. Looks like a big feed, but that's what he needs. Hey, that's a good bit. Look at the size of that.
We should leave it in here in case someone needs a face. Hugo is hungry eating.
Oh, OK, so we'll leave it in here in case someone needs to feed Hugo again.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds like a good plan, mate.
But we've got all the other stuff.
We've got it. I'm going to put it in the fridge, OK?
Yeah?
As I've said before, having kids around animals builds a fair amount of understanding.
Why don't you carry that bit? Pass me the knife, please. Thank you.
Is that nice?
No, it's not. I gave you a blunt one. Blunt one's for little boys.
Dad,
Yeah, mate.
put it there so I know where it is.
OK. Looks like kitchen duty hasn't scared Bill. Off to see Hugo now.
Go. That's a boy, thank you. Come on, Hugo's down here. Hugo, come on. That's it, turn it around.
Hugo's been with us for decades. He's 65, in the prime of his life. And by the look of it, Bill's a bit wary.
Whoa, that was good, mate. That was your first time. Look, and again. Now, if you want to give him the bowl, you can. Slide the bowl over. Slide the bowl over. That's it, right under. So here you go, Hugo. That's it, that's it, that's it. Prickly pear is one of the galap's favourite foods. You know, in Australia, it's actually a real pest species, and there's not too much of it around here, but when we get a hold of a bit, we feed it to the galaps, get it out of the environment. Here you go, mate. You like this?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Whoa!
Bill's keeping his distance a bit, and to be fair, he's got a point. That mouth would probably take his hand off.
He loves that. There were galaps in the world until recently that were old enough that they had been on Galapagos when Charles Darwin was there. He actually collected some. Now, they can live to 200 years. And Hugo, in his mid-60s, is realistically a teenager and a good-looking one. Give him a wave, mister. It's time for us to go.
Bye-bye.
We need to do some work now.
Yeah.
I reckon that'll take Hugo through to afternoon tea. It's koala clean-up duties now, but you'll have to catch up next time to see how we go.
Good job, mate.
I'm exploring the evolution of Australia's most iconic marsupial, the kangaroo. Now, apart from their physical makeup, the kangaroo's ability to thrive in a changing environment has contributed in a big way to a strong population.
The male right now is actually sniffing the female around her cloaca, and he's seeing if she's receptive, if she's ready to mate. Now, she's moving forward. I don't know if she's coming to me or if she's actually leading him forward, and that's what she'll do. She'll let him smell, and then she would stand still and he'll mount on her back.
Once a young kangaroo is born, it climbs into mum's pouch and it's blind, hairless and only a few centimetres long. It will latch onto a teat and begin suckling on precious milk. After many months, the baby has developed enough to explore the world. But it's only after as long as a year that the baby will seek independence from mum.
Looks like she's not responsive. I don't think it's his lucky day.
Temperatures in Australia's outback can reach in excess of 50 degrees Celsius. It's one of the harshest environments on the planet. Being able to cool down can be the difference between dying and surviving. Kangaroos have a clever way of cooling down. They actually lick their arms until they're visibly wet. Now, in doing so, they expose their veins and they're close to the surface. The cool air blows by, cools the blood, and they circulate that back through the body. They're licking my arms. My arms are a little bit sweaty and they can taste the salt and they want that. Roos have evolved to become graziers and are strict herbivores, meaning they only eat vegetation and have therefore developed specialised teeth. Its incisors, or front teeth, are able to crop grass close to the ground, whilst its molars grind the grass.
Now, when they eat their food, they actually swallow it, regurgitate it, chew it again and swallow it down, and that helps with digestion. And they have a chambered gut. It takes a long time for the food to pass through. Groups of kangaroos are called mobs and usually have 10 or more kangaroos in them. Living in mobs provides protection for some of the weaker members of the group,
and also a sense of interaction and socialisation.
Their ears are able to pivot 180 degrees, and that's for picking up the sounds of predators. Now, if they're listening, they'll face them forward and then turn sideways. Big ears, great for hearing.
Within these mobs, there are big, strong males, and that equals fighting.
This is a male, and you can see that because he's strong and thick, because he has to fight hard for territory with other males. Now, they'll lean back on their tails, rear up, and kick with their feet. Now, also, these front claws, that's almost as big as my hand, and they're strong for grabbing. And that chest, it's strong and muscular. Lots of muscle there, because that's going to take the impact of other males. Kangaroos are truly unique to Australia, and people come from all over the world to see them. And we Aussies, we're pretty lucky.